All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Molly Emmerich, and I'm with Austin Energy Green Building, and I'm Allied Member Roundtable Committee Chair. And we have events for Allied members to be known, be heard, and be connected. And today's topic is connecting through community service and mentoring. We have chairs from the DesignVoice committee, as well as representatives from Community First Village, Home Aid Austin, and NOMA of Central Texas. And we'll meet all of those folks in just a minute. First, we'd like to introduce Bridget and invite her to share a little bit more about some Allied member opportunities.
Thank you so much, Molly, and thanks everyone for being here today. Just wanted to introduce myself really quickly. I'm Bridget, and I work with AIA Austin and our sponsorship and Allied membership program. And just wanted to share with everyone, as those of you who are Allied members, I think most of you are, you have the opportunity to take advantage of sponsorship opportunities with AIA Austin. As you probably know, we've got a really robust calendar of events each year, and coming up is our summer conference, which is now known as the Design Excellence Conference, happening in August 18th to 20th. And that conference has really evolved in different ways recently, and now has a focus on sustainability and resilience as far as the course content goes. And also recently and temporarily, it is primarily a virtual conference and expo. And so this year we're kind of evolving from what we learned with last year's virtual event. We're going to have a virtual expo that we're really excited about, where our exhibitors and sponsors will have kind of profiles that serve as a virtual expo booth. So we're going to recreate that expo experience online. You'll get a profile, you'll get links for people to contact you. You can even have a 1-minute video embedded in that profile that will play before each of the conference courses. So it's really a way for us to kind of showcase our Allied members and your products and services to the about 300 architects and design professionals who will be attending. So just wanted to share that with you all. I'm going to put a link in the chat in a second here that outlines the sponsorship opportunities. So please take a look and be in touch if you're interested in getting involved. And I'll turn the floor back over to you guys.
Great, thanks, Bridget. And I think that there's a few more coming up too as AIA goes to hybrid events. So I think that there's going to be some hybrid events on the tour of homes, which I think that there are sponsorship and involvement opportunities there as well. And then as we move into the fall and the Christmas, potentially could be live events as well. So there's just keep your eye on your newsletter, because it's an evolving situation, but lots of opportunities to get involved. So I'm Kristen. I'm with Indoor Weather Professionals. We're an HVAC company, and I am going to ask the Allied members who are here to introduce themselves briefly. Just tell us your name and who you are, what you do, what company you're with. Real loose, no pressure. I'll just pick on you. No, I used to be a TA, so like I have no problem just picking on somebody to go.
Channing, would you want?
Sure. I'll go first. My name is Channing Wilson. I am the architectural consultant for Sierra Pacific Windows, covering South Texas. So San Antonio, Austin, Houston are my bigger cities. I live outside of San Antonio in a smaller town called Bernie. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Channing. All right, let's see. Jefferson, would you like to share who you are with us?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was an Allied member. This is my first time joining, so I kind of stayed quiet over here. My name is Jeff Nunez. I work with CareDB. I'm new to Austin, Texas. I'm about 8 months here, and somebody told me to check out DesignVoice because I've been really interested in seeing what nonprofit work there is here in Austin, Texas. I was talking to Nicole Jocelyn from Community Powered Workshop, and she had advised me to reach out to DesignVoice. Oh yes, I see Molly, you're happy. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to just learn and hear what you guys are doing, what's on the table, and to see how and when and where I could help.
Cool, thank you, and welcome. Where'd you come from?
San Diego, California.
Oh, awesome. All right, neato.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff. Welcome. Excellent.
Thank you.
Chris?
Hey guys, my name is Chris. I'm with Indoor Weather Pros. We are an HVAC contractor here in Austin. We do service and repair and new construction. Glad to be here. Desmond.
Desmond is a committee chair, hun. He's exempt from this painful, embarrassing moment.
I don't think it's, yes, I was about to say, I don't think it's quite my turn to speak, but the time will be coming.
Yes.
I'm just picking the next face on the screen.
Okay, let's see. Well, let's see. Saraj or whomever.
Hi, good afternoon all. My name is Saroj Resta and I'm with Dudley Dunham Engineering. I'm a structural engineer. We are a structural engineering firm based off the College Station, Texas. And we recently opened our Austin office. So I moved here just about 3 months ago. So I'm pretty new in Austin area and looking forward to link with our, Austin architect and Austin contractor engineers. And that's why we joined this AIA Allied membership.
Thank you so much and welcome. Awesome.
Sure, thank you.
Let's see who's left. Mike.
Hello, I'm Mike. I'm the Office and Operations Manager at Indoor Weather Professionals. I've been working here close to 4 years now. Whoop, whoop. And I've been in Austin about 10 years. So if you ever call the office, you're probably going to reach me. And that's who I am.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you. All right, let's see. Catherine or Michelle, are they on the call or?
I'm here. I'm Catherine Lee Dorr, and I work with Molly in Green Building at Austin Energy.
Awesome. It's been a long time, Catherine. I haven't seen you.
Oh, I've been around just working hard.
All right, anybody else? I see a Michelle and I see an Allison.
I think Michelle said she's new to the Austin area, so welcome.
Awesome. Allison, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, Allison Meyer with Anderson Windows and Doors. I've been in the market for 6 years.
Awesome.
Great.
Great. Well, always one of these events, we always have some kind of other connection. And so, Jefferson, I wanted to tell you, besides knowing Nicole and being a big fan of DesignVoice, I used to work at KRDB. So we have that in common.
Great.
Yeah. Say hi to Chris for me.
He's probably watching.
All right. Well, like I said, we have these events to be known, be heard, and be connected. And the theme today, is connecting. And I am a huge fan of the DesignVoice Committee because I've been a member of that for several years. And they do such great work in the area of community service and mentoring as well. And so I thought that I would bring on board Chet and Desmond to kind of talk about what they do and ways that Allied members can get involved with that. And they've invited some guests to also speak a little bit more about that. So Chet and Desmond, take it away.
Sure, I could jump things off. Thanks, Molly. Molly's one of our favorite members of DesignVoice, one of our more consistent too. So I'm always happy to help and jump in. So we're really happy to be here and to help with this conversation. But the Allied Members Group has always been a group that DesignVoice has connected with in multiple ways. What DesignVoice does and kind of the gist of it is that we're here to facilitate opportunities of design professionals with community opportunities or ways to serve their community. So whether that be with nonprofit work or just giving back by providing some design advice or anything like that, we're here to help and support that. We have a couple programs that we typically do. One of them is DV3X2, which is a mentor program that happens during the work week, where high schoolers specifically will come into the office, or in a normal year they come in the office, but come in and see how an architecture office works and how it's run and kind of how they can plug into it and just really be a resource to help them understand what the career entails and if it's something for them to do. And so something that I really wish I had growing up, but it's something that we are happy to facilitate. Another thing that we've been doing also is, it's our second year of it, but we've put out a design competition too. That's really meant to focus on creating and fostering ideas that can help better serve our community. And so it's purely a design ideas competition. Nothing necessarily gets built like our Community First or Tiny Victories projects, but it's meant to really serve needs and talk about situations that are happening currently and in the moment. And so last year we talked about, obviously it was designing around the pandemic and kind of what that normal looks like. And how can we be flexible and adjustable, because this probably won't be the only pandemic that we encounter, or at least we all encounter at some point. And so this year it's actually tackling community, and more specifically, it's talking about homelessness and helping people experiencing homelessness find community and find the space that they need without putting them, just kind of forgetting about them or kind of leaving them where they're at. So it's really kind of figuring out and distilling what community is at each scale. It's going there. And so I'm mostly going to talk about force majeure in a second, but I forgot to give an intro on myself too. And so I'm Chet Morgan. I'm the current chair of DesignVoice. I've been involved for a couple of years now. My day job is I'm an associate project architect at Michael Shue's office, but my passions really align with DesignVoice. So happy to be here, and I'll let Desmond introduce himself right now.
Talk about a tough follow-up. So my name is Desmond. No, you're fine. My name is Desmond. I'm actually co-chair with Chet on DesignVoice. And like I said, like Chet said, Molly's been an amazing member and contributor to DesignVoice for years before I even became involved. And it's been amazing to see how the organization has grown over the years. Aside from the projects that Chet just mentioned, we're also working on Parque Zaragoza, which is a community effort over on the east side to reinvigorate park over on the east side. It's currently pending a MO schedule before we do the installation and actually begin the actual, begin facilitating programs in the space. And one thing that was actually really interesting about this year is that we found that about 50% of our schedule actually revolved around dealing with homelessness in the city of Austin. And so another project that I will be focusing on today, as well as Kelsey and Jason, is actually the Peace Lutheran project, which is providing some transitory housing for families in need at a local church located just off of 620. And so we'll go into that a little bit in greater depth a little bit later on, but I guess I'll give it over to Kelsey and Jason so they can actually introduce themselves through ways of DesignVoice. I met the two of them who are involved in Homemade Austin, which specifically deals with homelessness in Austin. So along with DesignVoice, my passions also align with trying to deal with homelessness. Actually, not known to a lot of people in my professional or community life. I actually have close family members that have dealt with homelessness at one point or another. So this is something that strikes deep with me, and I definitely want to try and rectify or communicate or help in any way possible.
Should I go? Is it my turn? Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Desmond. Desmond currently serves on our board of directors for Homemade Austin, and he also serves on the project development committee. And we are so thrilled that he decided to join us. So thank you, Desmond, and thank you all for having us here today. I'm Kelsey, Development and Outreach Manager for Homemade Austin, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about our organization, and then I'll turn it over to Jason Costanzo, our project manager, and he'll go over future and current opportunities to get involved. Homemade is a national organization that was founded 32 years ago in Orange County, California. and we now have 19 affiliates across the country. We believe that everyone deserves access to safe and dignified housing. And our mission is to build new lives, individuals and families experiencing or at risk of homelessness through housing and community outreach. And we do that by partnering with local service providers, and we help them with their renovations or their ground up construction needs. We consider ourselves to be the philanthropic arm of the home building industry, and we're the charity of choice for the Home Builders Association of Greater Austin. And because of this partnership, we are able to maximize the talents and treasures of these home builders, vendors, and trade partners. And we provide an average savings of 50% off the total cost of construction for our partner organizations. So this is money that they can reinvest back into their program and operations and serving their clients. Since HomeAid was founded in 2018, we have renovated an emergency drop-in center for SAFE, which serves survivors of exploitation and trafficking. We added on office space for Roxanne's house, which is a part of the Hayes Caldwell Women's Center in San Marcos, and that enabled them to bring on new staff and serve more clients. And last year, we permanently ended homelessness for 8 individuals by building 8 tiny homes for mobile loaves and fishes. So that's a little bit about us. I'm now going to turn it over to Jason, our project manager, so we can talk more about our projects and hopefully in ways that hopefully AIA and DesignVoice members can get involved.
Thank you, Kelsey and Desmond and Chet. Hi, I'm Jason. I work with Kelsey at HomeAid, and I wanted to highlight one of our projects that's in the development phase right now today. It's, as Desmond said, it's the Peace Lutheran housing project. Before I get into the details of it, I just wanted to say that HomeAid's model, what we do is essentially connect service providers, organizations that are serving the homeless community, primarily through building housing. We connect nonprofits and service providers with builders and with, design professionals, anyone in the industry who can we can connect them with and have them bring value to their building and remodeling projects, primarily through facilitating donations of materials and labor, having builders mobilize their subcontractors to really donate as much of their time as possible to these projects. And ultimately, this benefits the service providers directly, in that they save tons of money on their projects, and that they can devote towards their programs. And the Peace Lutheran project is one where we actually are in a pretty early stage still with the service provider, which is actually there's going to be a partnership between the church, Peace Lutheran, and an organization called Foundation for the Homeless. They have on their site at the church about 2,400 square foot metal building that is not really been used in a number of years. We've done a couple of site walks with Chet and Desmond. We've actually had a couple of other folks out there, Paul Warfield from Datum Engineering and John Mayberry of 4-Star Group have also been involved thus far. And really the church is wanting to convert this building or a building that we may build in its place to house families. It's the intent of the project is that it will be a short-term sort of emergency transitional housing facility for up to 4 families. So it would be private living quarters for up to 4 families with a common area. The challenges of this project are, at this stage, we're still sort of in the stage of deciding whether to, try to do a retrofit on this building. The bones seem to be pretty good on it, but we may, depending on what builders we're able to mobilize to actually take on the project, we may end up doing it just as a new build. So that's really where we are with that one. And yeah, just are thankful to DesignVoice for the opportunity to, connect with new folks to, if they want to get involved in this project, that would be great. We'll talk more about it in the breakout session here in a minute. We can get into some more details. Other opportunities that we have in the coming year or two are, a sort of office community space build out for the Other Ones Foundation, who are currently running the Esperanza community in East Austin. There's a large potential project, and probably in the coming year or two, out in Bastrop with an organization called Carrying Hope. They have about 5 acres of land out there. We're sort of in the very early stages of figuring out ways to potentially build some housing out there and some other facilities to further their mission. And then there's also an organization here in town called Project Transitions we're involved with, also with Desmond, as you can see in the photo. And that's another opportunity. We've got a lot of projects in that early stage, and we're always looking to connect with professionals who can get involved and help us at every stage to ultimately help us save these organizations who are serving the homeless community a lot of money. And that's our deal in a nutshell. And yeah, looking forward to talking to anybody who wants to get involved. Thanks.
Thanks, Jason. I'm going to jump in and talk back about force majeure really quick before we kind of jump into the breakout rooms or go from there. I also want to introduce Arlene, who's with us as well. Arlene Elwood, she's with Mobile Loaves and Fishes. Arlene, do you want to say hi real quick?
Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Arlene Elwood. I'm the architectural design coordinator with Mobile Loaves and Fishes, which operates Community First Village out in East Austin. And it's for those of you who haven't been out to visit, it's a permanent, supportive, affordable housing community for our formerly homeless neighbors in Austin, Texas. And it's made up of tiny homes, RVs, and then a lot of community space. So we partnered with DesignVoice a lot in the past on various projects like design competitions, charrettes, post-occupancy evaluation. But most recently, like Chet said, we've been working with them on the force majeure design competition prompt, and mostly like kind of helping frame that to not just how do we design housing for people to bring them out of homelessness, but designing those community spaces to keep them out of homelessness, which is really what Community First is about. That's kind of our model. We also work with Homemade a lot too, like Jason and Kelsey talked about, and we're about to be expanding. We're at about 500 houses by the end of next year, and then we're launching phases 3 and 4, which will add another 1,400 homes. And we really rely on the generosity and partnerships with local architects and builders and vendors and consultants. So that's kind of really how we run. We love those partnerships.
Yeah, Arlene was instrumental in helping us really figure out what this brief is going to look like, and kind of we don't want this to be ideas that are just kind of out there and they look pretty and that's kind of where they live. We want these ideas to be implementable and helpful, especially to groups like Mobile Loaves and other like Homemade and other groups like that too. And so one thing that's unique about our competition is that we have 3 different prompts. And before I jump into those, I do want to say that it's open to everyone too. So allied members are more than welcome to join. We do recommend that you team up with an architect just to help with just specific drawings and renderings if you need it. But we're really open to everyone, and the more ideas, the better we can really kind of understand what we're working with and kind of how to implement those in the future. And each brief is a little bit different. They're all at different scales, but they all circle around community. So our first brief, brief A, is called Healing Community. And we have 3 different sites actually for this location, and it's really more of a modular unit, and it's how do you provide interventions on site that are prefabricated and mobile that give back to communities that don't have those. So I'm talking about areas like East Cesar Chavez over by 35, Riverside Median over in South Austin, and then also the I-35 underpass over by Airport Boulevard. Kind of those last refuge that these areas that people experiencing homelessness are kind of getting pushed to in downtown. And so, kind of how do we help and facilitate their needs and kind of keep them well. Project Brief B is called Redefining Community, and this one's interesting. It's a renovation of a hotel, turning it into multifamily units. And so we found there's a hotel in North Austin that's up for sale, and so we were just looking into seeing how can we directly create spaces in an existing shell that can give back to families, because this is a problem that that obviously the Peace Lutheran prompt that we're working with is dealing with right now, but it's something that I think is always being looked at and trying to be understood. And how do you create enough space for families to feel like they can be, in their own space and have a home, while also kind of creating a community within that as well too that supports each other. And then our last brief, Project Brief C, which is I think my most exciting one, is kind of how do you create a community village? And this has design elements to it, but it's really more kind of getting to the meat and bones of like how do you create community through just programs and design of scheduling and spaces and types of people that will inhabit and live in the site too. And so it kind of goes deeper into how do you establish and create a large scale community. So it's really at 3 different scales, but currently the brief is open right now. If you go to AIA Austin and our DesignVoice page, you can find the briefs there, and they're open pretty much until July 31st is when is the close date for it. So we still got a whole month ahead of us. So if y'all are interested or have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Arlene, did I capture everything?
Molly, I think you're on mute.
Okay, I've already said I need a t-shirt. I would like to, elaborate on that working with these groups is really important in how we build community together. And, allied members have a great opportunity to form relationships and bonding through this, as well as, contribute through the things that they can offer. We also, are talking about mentoring today, and Kristen is going to introduce her guest to talk about another project where you guys can help out as well.
Hello again. So I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Hurd of NOMA Central Texas. That's the National Organization of Minority Architects. They just recently opened up a chapter here in Central Texas that's serving both the Austin and San Antonio area. I'm a sponsor of the organization. The president of the organization is a former student of mine, and I'm thrilled to see his enthusiasm and how wonderfully the chapter has come together and rallied around during COVID. Elizabeth is going to talk about this really cool mentoring volunteer opportunity called Project Pipeline that they are just going forward with this year. And it's with children and trying to facilitate school children's understanding of the building process and encourage them to understand that there are opportunities in the building process for people of all color. And so Liz is going to talk a little bit more about that. So please.
Hi, I'm Liz Hurd. Again, like you said, I'm actually in San Antonio. I'm an architect at RVK Architects here in San Antonio. But the Project Pipeline program is a really great program. It starts out with middle school and high school students, and the purpose is to have a pipeline to follow these students all the way through licensure. So our goal is to start early at the middle school and high school age with these summer camps that we have. And then we follow the students all the way through college, getting them mentorships when they graduate, and then eventually helping them get licensed as an architect. So that's the goal of the project pipeline. So the signature program that we have is a summer camp. Each region has the decision to determine how long it is. Some of them do a week-long camp. Because this is our first year, we decided to do 2-day. So start out kind of small to see how it works. But yeah, so what was amazing is we already got 40 students within the first 2 weeks of opening the registration. Awesome. So, and it's a mix. They were probably half and half from Austin and San Antonio. So we're really excited about that. The biggest opportunity we need are volunteers. What it is it's a 2-day camp on July 16th and 17th. We're doing it from 9 to 4 p.m. But we're allowing it to be, because I know a lot of people might not be able to commit to the full day, is we're breaking it up into a morning session and afternoon session. And we basically have a curriculum where the students learn about the built environment. This program, it talks about like mind your neighbor, build your block. So we're going to show like each of the breakout sessions will have the students go on and see what their block is and see what's missing from your block where you live and you go to school, and just to see how that built environment, what needs to be added, what do you have too much of, what do you need? And so that kind of idea, just starting that process, and then we're going to have them build their block. So throughout the process, and they got to do a presentation on their block and what is going to be added. So it's a really neat opportunity, and a lot of students don't know much about architecture, and so it's just getting them into learning about what we do between architecture, engineering. So it's a really great program. Like I said, this is our first year, and the harder part is it's virtual. So having to do all of this virtually has been interesting. So our program, what we're going to do, like I said, on the 16th and 17th is UT Austin has been wonderful, where they're donating a lot of services. They're donating volunteers as well as a place for us to go and we're having the base camp there. So all of the volunteers are going to be in person, but the students are going to be virtual. So we felt that us being in person might be easier, where we can facilitate the presentations for the students and show them, and we're going to actually help them build, and we'll all be there together instead of everybody on a separate Zoom call. So we're hoping that'll be easier. So the actual volunteers will be at UT campus. So we're really excited. So volunteers is what we need. We can always use sponsorships as well, but we have been really thankful we have a lot of sponsorships. We've been getting a lot of stuff donated, like our shirts have been donated. We're getting lunches donated. So we have had a great help from the community with this program.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. That just sounds so exciting. I can't wait.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a mix of kids too. So it's not just high school. So I love having the middle school kids, because a lot of times in middle school, not a lot of students know about what we do. So we're excited.
Right. And I love that it's starting out with this notion of community, which refers to what Ched and Desmond and Kelsey and Arlene, I mean, what we're all saying is, I love the idea that we're starting off with what's my block look like, as opposed to what does my house look like, or my individual, this is a wonderful way, in my opinion, to get them aware of the built environment, and more importantly, how the built environment affects us all and affects our relationships as humans.
Oh, for sure.
I'm so excited for this one. So thank you so much for giving us that synopsis. And okay, so now are we breaking out to try to dig a little deeper into some of these amazing initiatives? Great. Well, that was fabulous. Oh my goodness.
I always love that. I was telling Ched, I'm like, I feel like it's Star Trek or something. We're being teleported, and are we going to come all back in one piece? That was wonderful. I thought each group could share kind of like a highlight from what they talked about. And Chris kind of wrapped up a really nice point about community first, since he's actually volunteered out there. So Chris, do you want to share real quick?
I was just mentioning the fact that Community First has got this very well thought out way that they're going about it. So I've done volunteer work before, and a lot of times you can feel like you're just making a kind of a gesture. You're sort of spinning your wheels, but it was different working on those projects out there because of everything that went into the community behind it. So you really felt like, you're doing this stuff. It is actually a piece of a puzzle that's put together by somebody who was really thinking about it. That was very different, very rewarding.
Yeah, and I've been out there and done some hands-on volunteering as well as working on the post-occupancy and the phase 2 designs. And it's just, it's a really neat way to connect with other folks in the industry and with other folks in the community, other organizations. So I really encourage folks to look into that. What about our other group with NOMA? Kristen, do you guys have a highlight from your breakout?
So one thing that really stood out, Molly, was the fact that it's middle schoolers and high schoolers coming together. There's an extremely well thought out, organized program to get them to start thinking about their community, their built environment, how they fit in, deficits, pros, cons. It was astonishing to me, just the amount of work and love that had gone into this program for these kids. I am super excited to volunteer at this. And I think it's an amazing mentorship opportunity for children, for anybody who's interested in working with middle school and high school age children, and just fostering an interest in the built environment that Project Pipeline is going to try to follow and see if they can nurture this interest all the way until, she said, licensure, but also just educating young citizens about these incredibly important values, particularly community. To me, it was just phenomenal. And if anybody else from the group wants to speak about it, I was just blown away by the program.
Awesome. Well, also too, we'd like to hear from Desmond and Homemade as well. So you guys, who's your spokesperson about your highlight for your group?
Jason, you're muted.
Like the 4th time I've done that today. It was great. We connected with Jeff and Saroj, and I forgot how to pronounce your name. Is it Shana?
Dana.
Okay.
Dana.
Okay. Yeah, we had some great input. I think we'll probably be able to have some future association with these folks, and it's great. And one thing that that I touched on in the breakout was that we really are a fairly new affiliate for the Homemade organization. It's a national organization, but the one in Austin has been in operation only for 3 years. So we are in the process of really diversifying our sort of rosters of different types of design and building professionals. And so opportunities like this are really key for us to make those connections and be able to take on different types of projects. We do housing, but we also can, we've got a lot in our pipeline that is not housing. So
that's great. And, I think it's such an important opportunity to get in front of the allied members too. And we'll definitely spread the message, because it sounds, I didn't get a chance to chat with you, but, there are, money donations there, but it sounds like time and labor are also highly valued. And that is something that, subcontractors like myself and my husband, Chris, who's on the call, are, willing to do on the weekends, or, when we have a time. And so I love this, guys. I think that this has been such a wonderful session, getting these incredibly important initiatives in front of people. Tell your friends, tell your colleagues, tell your boss. There are so many ways to participate in these different endeavors, and there's so many that are deserving and worthy.
Yeah, and I think just back to even when Jefferson said that he'd heard about this from Nicole about Design Voice. It's like, just spread the word, really, it is such a great way to connect with other people, and that's what we're here for. So just wanted to thank everyone. You guys really have, really have shared a lot of neat things with us today that we're excited to share more about.
Thank you guys so much.
I'll see you all in about a couple of months. Will be our next event, 2 months. So.
Yep. I will send a
Thank you,
recap.
everyone.
Don't be strangers in the meantime, okay?
Thank you, everybody.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.